And I planted this tree with my placenta and invited some girlfriends over to help me dig this hole. And it just turned into this like ceremony. Like it just turned into this ritual that I didn't know that I needed.
Welcome back to the Be Well Baby podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Emily Spaeth. I'm thrilled to introduce you to Dr. Katie Kanda today. Dr. Katie is a chiropractor at Jewel Chiropractic here in Portland, Oregon, and one of the clearest voices I know on why modern parenthood feels so impossibly hard, and more importantly, what we can do about it. In this conversation, we dig into the systems that aren't set up for our success, the role of community in real postpartum healing, and we're talking about Dr. Katie's deeply personal journey with a recent diagnosis that's forcing her to walk the walk on everything she teaches her patients. It is hard for us helpers and caregivers to take care of ourselves sometimes, and Dr. Katie is learning firsthand how important it is. This is a raw, honest, heartfelt conversation about rest, advocacy, and the magic that happens when women gather. I hope it lands with you in the way that it landed with me and everyone else in Beyond Birth. You're going to hear a bunch of different voices. Enjoy.
So, Katie, I would love to hear what brought you to the work that you do and what kind of shaped your passion for postpartum healing.
First of all, what an intro. Wow. Not sure I have any answers to these mega questions, but boy, do I just love sitting in the messy soup with people, because it's just so big and so much and so heavy. And I hear all of you in this theme of like, these things that shouldn't be so hard are so hard to decide how we feed our babies, to decide where we travel with them, to decide, do we go back to paid work or not? Anyway, I just see all of you in it, and I am all of you too. So, how I got here, gosh, I don't think I have a like cutesy linear journey, but who does? I was a dancer my whole life and double majored in dance and basically pre-med in college. And then I danced professionally. So I kind of have this past life that most folks in my life these days don't know about. But I think it has informed a lot of me, in this like deep appreciation for what the human body does and can do. And so I've always been a mover, and then I've always wanted to understand how it works. So the doing and the like understanding, this right brain and left brain, this art and science of it all. And then always knew I'd go into some sort of holistic healing, alternative healing, and found my way into chiropractic school. And yet in that schooling, learned nothing about the pregnant body, babies, the postpartum body. I mean, there's like one theoretical class on obstetrics and we learn a couple, but it's nothing. And even the gold standard of prenatal care workshop and certification is like a weekend class.
Yeah.
That now people say they get to treat pregnant folks. And, it's just such a specialized time and deserves a specialist. And, I think at some point in school, I was like, who's talking about this? Like where, what there's half the population has the potential to be in this like hyper specialized state, and yet we're just gonna like wing it. Okay. Yeah. So very little of what I do today I learned in my doctorate program, which is wild to me, and so much, and all the continuing ed has come from basically other professions. So I'm in with PTs, I'm in with midwives, I'm in with OTs or naturopaths or massage therapists or anyone who has any more advanced curriculum in this stuff. And then it's like little Chiro me, which has some, there's a reputation. Chiros have reputations. Not much of it is good. So I'm here to hear people's stories and also here to kind of rewrite it my own. And, it's just the licensure that brought me here to let me kind of co-create and mix up this like specialized Dr. Katie formula that I think allows me to offer something really special. So, I'm like to me, the right blend of like science and woo. And I'm like right here and all these other little techniques that I've gathered. And it's just this like, let's show up and be human together. And
yeah, I mean, you've kind of designed your own thing that you do, Dr. Katie's thing.
If you are looking for a pacifier that will support your baby's oral motor development, the Mini is my favorite. So it's wide at the base and soft at the base and it gets firm at the tip, just like a breast and a nipple and an areola. It's not as firm as a traditional pacifier, so it allows your baby to get used to getting organized around a softer surface. Use the code BeWellBaby for 10% off at checkout at minico.com. Thanks for listening. Let's get back to the episode.
Let's talk about what's not working. Like, why do so many parents feel like they're failing?
I think the way that I like to say it is like, it's not hard because you're bad or your baby's bad. It's hard because it's hard. And yet so many of us are so prone to taking it personally. And I think that's just what capitalism and the patriarchy want us to believe is like, oh, if you just work harder and if you're just better, like you will succeed. And yeah. And yet, like, why is it so hard? Because like, could we name one thing that is set up for our success right now? Like one system, one component of this life that we are trying to build for ourselves and our family that like brings groundedness and ease and peace?
So what are those systemic realities? Let's name some of them that you can see show up again and again.
Paid parental leave, affordable childcare, housing, affordable housing. I don't know, like pick your thing right now. Or at the end of like, I don't know, still navigating a global pandemic and political upheaval and deep systemic racism and political like injustices everywhere. And, you know, like pick your thing, scroll on your phone for 1 second and like,
there it is.
That.
So what myths do you wish that you could just like bust for every parent out?
That you're done postpartum at 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, preach.
What? And I was just listening to this podcast and I haven't done my source checking on this one about this was a perinatal provider who had done a lot of traveling in like more traditional cultures that like they don't have the same recovery time as us. Like they do, I don't like the word bounce back, but they do like return to previous activities quicker than we tend to. And to me, there's a lot to unpack there in terms of every part of their lifestyle and toxin exposure and biomechanics and expectations of their home and
activities during pregnancy.
Yes.
I think like a lot of those cultures are not doing nothing. They're not being put on bed rest. You know,
they're not ever treated like they're fragile.
They're squatting. They're doing things in their pregnancy that are really helping them have a more efficient birth.
And they've done those things their whole lives.
Right.
And their ancestors did those things their whole lives.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that 6 week or even 8 week if it's a C-section, but like it's just not real. And it's possible too that those cultures are like actually healing during the postpartum time and not trying to push themselves on day 2, day 3 to go back to things so that their bodies can fully heal more efficiently.
And one of the things we haven't talked about is the lack of community and the lack of elders and the lack of this like village that they all say that it takes. And we're just living in silos with usually our male partners who have also been bred out of any of the like sacred qualities of masculine energies. And
so let's talk about community. Like what role could community play in recovery?
I think it should be the cornerstone. I think it could, if there was just the aunties and the elders and the other older kids around to tend to the things. So it's not like, oh, on day 3, well, I have to cook dinner because my partner doesn't know how. And my big kid, I need to take them to school. So who else could do that? The community could do that. Like if there really was somebody in the community kitchen who's making the soup and the big kids are running around tending to the littles, and in comes the midwives and the doulas to like wrap you in herbs and give you a bath and tuck you into bed and bring you your baby once they're hungry. Like, boy, what healing could we do in 6 weeks?
I want to cry. I had a client one time who I do home visits for pelvic floor, and she had a prolapse, and I was working on her. It was the first time I was seeing her in her home, and she was having a really, really hard time with her partner, and just like everything was hard. And I like built her up a little throne of pillows, and my student was with me, and we were just like there in her space, holding her. My student was caring for her baby, and she was like, before we even like got started, she was like, I just want to cry. I feel so cared for. And I was like, you should. We all should feel this cared for when we're postpartum. So,
And it leads me to like want to pose this question to the group. Like, when was the last time you felt truly deeply held? The answer should be like today or
right.
yesterday.
Does anyone want to answer?
I feel like Kyle's really good at giving me hugs when I'm feeling overwhelmed. Like the most supportive partner anyone could possibly have is Vivian's dad. Like he still does daddy daughter day, and he takes baby duty in the evening so I can get some sleep before he goes to bed. And yeah. And I'm all like, I need oxytocin. I mean, I get oxytocin from her, but I need oxytocin for me. He's all like, okay, come here, come hug. So like that's a regular for me, and I feel very blessed because I know
You get to feel like physically held too with those hugs.
yeah. Yeah, and he's a giant, so like it's like bear hugs, you know. But yeah, I feel super blessed to have him as a partner for sure.
That's awesome, Jenny. Anyone else?
I actually had a recent experience, also partner related. So I went on this family camping trip and felt so like lonely and empty while I was with my family. And, I have some awareness about what that is, but when I left and I drove back and I got home, like I was like sad crying to sad songs on my drive back up from California, and just like feeling all the feels and listening to adult children of emotionally mature parents on audiobook. And then I got home and just talked to my partner, and she was like, we've been working together in couples about like the way I need space to be held or like my preferences. And she's really been listening to that. And so she didn't try to solve anything, and she just like validated and like verbalized, like, that does sound hard, like it was just really lovely. And having dated for 20 years with people who I didn't feel held by, I'm like, oh, thank you, Dawn, for pushing through to find somebody who like wanted to like build that capacity and has the ability for that.
Yeah, I hear so much healing in both of you for that experience, like the growth it took in you to show up in the way that you deserve to and feel all the feelings that you deserve to, and then in your partner who has done the work herself to be able to hold you in that without fixing. I think it can be such a monumental shift. Simple, but not easy, right?
Becca?
Yeah, I have a really supportive partner too. So we're all in good company, it sounds like. But he, even this morning, he's on leave to stay home with our kiddo. But he like got up early and was hanging out with Gus so that I could go on a run, and like was like really, so he really pushes me to take that space for myself. So that's definitely really huge. And he knows how to cook dinner, so he always will cook dinner while I get some time with our son in the evenings after I'm working. And I will also say Emily made me feel very the same way, right? Like our first night home, she came and held the breast pump to my boobs, and I will never forget that. I'm just like how, I mean, my husband was also doing everything he could, but we were both in day 3. And so Emily also, I just always think of that first week and how thankful I was for Emily and people in that sphere and village for holding both of us and our child, all 3 of us.
No. And everyone, Becca is doing the return to running protocol, and you're on week like 10 or something, week 10 of the 24-week program, and has just been like crushing it. So that is so cool, and I'm so proud of you. And we met, when Becca was pregnant, and was like, I really want to run again, but I don't see it happening, and now it's happening. So it's really cool. You asked that question, Katie, and I was like, I don't remember.
Yes. Yes. And that's so common. And I just want to validate that. And like, we should be feeling held every day. And I think it's hard because we live in these silos, and really sometimes the only option is your partner.
Yeah.
So then your partner's burnt out in their own ways. So it's like so dependent on this one other person to meet all these needs, when if we lived in these healthy, balanced communities of other regulated nervous systems, that there would just be so many options and so many people who could hold you in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I see you too, Emily, and it's okay that you don't have an easy answer. Mine was until this weekend, when I kind of created my own ceremony. My daughter just turned 1, and I planted this tree with my placenta and invited some girlfriends over to help me dig this hole. And it just turned into this like ceremony. Like, it just turned into this ritual that I didn't know that I needed. Anyway, so it was like this unexpected gift that I have mostly felt held from my girlfriends. And I have this memory of early postpartum. One of them came over with like warm banana bread, and I'm like probably crying on the couch with a baby in my arms. And she just like lathered a slice of the bread with butter and like hand fed it to me, and I'm like, oh my God, like it doesn't take much, and we deserve that a lot. And our systems are just not set up for it, which just makes me, I get such systemic rage when an individual comes in like so hard on themselves and feeling so sad and so empty, and we just don't have the infrastructure to support them.
So what cultural messages about parenting, like that parent that comes in and there's nothing to support him, what cultural messages about parenting drive you nuts?
What cultural messages about parenting do I like? I think that's a shorter list of things, but the little like taglines that you see on Instagram posts is like, we're basically supposed to work like we don't have children, and parent like we also don't have work to do. And so I think even my parents' generation, they could live in a like good enough home in a good enough neighborhood where everyone's felt safe and cared for off of one income. So one parent could stay home and the other could go to work, and then financially all our needs were met. And there was like that parent, that stay-at-home parent, felt like they could provide for the children in the ways that they wanted to too. And I don't know about you all, but like, we need to have 2 working parents in this household to pay for our like very modest, very tiny, cute home that I do love, but like, I would like a closet. And that maybe one day I will have that.
But you'd have to keep working.
But I have to keep working. I would also really love a second toilet. So like my bar is my goals. I'm shooting for the stars, you guys. Let me just tell you. Okay. And I'm really not complaining. I love my home. I love my neighborhood. I love my neighbors, but it's just the reality. And like what we pay for our toddler to be in childcare is outrageous, and what we pay for my baby to be in childcare is ridiculous. And it's just how are we supposed to then also like be a regulated human being who knows who we are as our own person, and then show up in that regulated space as a partner and as a parent?
Yeah. I mean, we all know this is so hard. So why do you think that it's so hard for us to ask for help?
I mean, practically, who do you ask? I mean, the providers are excellent. Our little perinatal community in Portland is like so good. I always tell folks that Portland's just a great town to have a baby in. Like, we're rich with resources, and there's a privilege there. Like, if hopefully your insurance takes them, and hopefully they're taking new patients, and if not, like, because then you reach out to your neighbor and they're just as drowning as you are. So I think it's hard to ask for help, because when in our lives have we ever been told that that's a thing we can do? Did anyone's parents model that for them? Because mine did not. I'm also reading that same book as you were, Dawn, about parents of or children of emotionally immature adults. Anyway, I messed up that title, but you know what I'm saying. I think one of the anchors I like to remind people of is the postpartum like rest that we deserve, this like deep sensation of rest, is so foreign to us. And it's really the first time in our lives and in our culture that it's like permissible to sit down for extended periods of time and do nothing, even though your body's like literally rearranging itself. Is like our periods should have been teaching us that since we were 12. Like during our bleeding, we should have had 20 years of practice of every month being like, you know what, I'm going to dial it back and I'm going to sit and I'm going to offload a little bit, downshift, and just like listen to my body. And we should have been practicing listening to our body since we were teenagers or early.
Instead, we were practicing ignoring our bodies.
Yes. It's like, just put in this tampon and wear a little white skirt and go play tennis. I mean, that's like what the commercials say, right? Or like,
take a Midol.
What's that?
Take a Midol, right? Or
there's a medication for that. You don't need to slow down. Here's some meds. Right? Like
get on birth control so you don't feel anything. Well,
right.
What is that going to do?
And so then there's been people who have had no cycle or understanding of the rhythms of their body since they were 15 because they got acne and their provider was like, I know what to do, you know? So we've just shifted our culture into one of like, how can we mitigate any physical discomfort in the name of convenience so that, and I think if you unpack all that underneath it is like, so that you can still like contribute to our economy, kind of. Mm-hmm. If I want to be as like icky about it as I sometimes get, but it's really,
there's businesses that will pay for you to freeze your eggs so that you can work more and then have a baby later when it's actually less safe for you.
Ew.
Right? Ew, right?
I mean, I'm all for people having babies when and how they want to. So it is, in some lens, cool that they're like, nah, this is a possibility of how you could one day have a child. And if that person's just not ready and they're like, cool, I'm going to freeze my eggs and one day I'll be ready. Fine. But are they not ready because they're not financially able to have a child right now? In which case that's not a them problem. That's a systems problem.
I think it's always a systems problem. You know, I don't think you're ever really ready to have a baby. It doesn't matter when you have one.
No.
And if you're having one very much on purpose, it's ready. Okay.
And then to have a second one made me feel like a little clinically insane. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do all that again. You know, and yet it was the right thing for me. So, I know, I think it can sound a little bit, doomsday-ish, but, given it, if you heard my check-in, maybe Dawn, you missed it. I've been dealing with some like physical health stuff, and it's been forcing me to really, really, really slow down in a way that I'm not even sure I did postpartum, to be honest. It has forced me to zoom out enough to be like, what are we doing here? And so I think I'm always asking myself these big questions, but given that it's sort of inviting me into a bit of a career pivot, not to step away from patient care, but to diversify in a way that if and when my body is like not willing to do body work, what do we do? And the message that just keeps coming up for me is the medicine is in the gathering of women. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that in a like gender exclusionary way, but just in the gathering of like the yin, in the softness, in the feelings, in the like, can we just sit in a circle and like be together? Virtually is cool. In person is cool. So what you're doing, you know, Emily, is medicine. Yeah. And to me, this is the only way, is like, how can we gather around a fire, proverbially or literally, and just like look into each other's eyes and make the world that we believe in? Because no, that's sure as shit not coming from the top down.
That's right.
I need to tell you guys about the Cerise Chill because it absolutely changed the way that I feel about pumping. First of all, it's so slick. It's basically a cooler that you pump into. It has all these different parts that fit together to form different cups, and then it all fits back together to keep your milk cold forever. I took 4 of these things with me across the country, and it kept my milk absolutely cold and actually started freezing it. So the Cerise Chill, I'm not even going to say more. You should just go check it out. There's a link in the show notes if you want to learn more.
I would love for you to talk about the group that you just started.
The birth workers one or my Tired Hot Moms retreat?
Both.
Yeah, I think since it was like, oh, Dr. Katie, it's time to pivot because body work isn't always going to be the thing, which I think is always the truth. Like bodies have a timeline, but mine got bumped up quicker than I thought.
Katie, can I
so,
ask you for a second? Would you be comfortable sharing
my diagnosis?
your body?
Sure. Does that feel like relevant and helpful?
I think it would be very relevant and helpful.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of people who are in this program who have disabilities, who have diagnoses, who might be able to relate to what you're going through.
Yeah. Well, in that sense, then you all could help me because this is new to me. So it was starting postpartum with my daughter, who I said just turned 1. I would start getting this like strange joint pain. It would like show up and be debilitating for like several days, and then it would go away. And then it would show up in another joint and go away. And I was just like, oh, postpartum's weird. Like joint pain, haha. It'll go away. And it would. Until it started in my feet and wouldn't go away. And then it was debilitating to the point where like I would have to sit on my butt and like slide down the hallway to get to the toilet, where I was like, something's wrong here. So then I think it was March. Yeah. So probably 3 months ago, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. So that is if anyone's not familiar, is an autoimmune disease that attacks the joints in your appendages in your hands and feet mostly. So the irony of a body worker, of a dancer and a chiropractor whose like hands and feet are deteriorating from the inside out is like not lost on me. But it has just mean a lot of changes of my schedule, of my capacity. Every day is really different. I'm still in the very early stages of figuring out like what medicines and treatments and triggers and lifestyle is meaningful to my body. But really she's the boss of me now. Every day I wake up and I'm like, all right, girl, what do you got? What do you got for me?
How are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, that's so hard. I feel like our bodies are so wise, though. There's always a reason. So,
and I think I've just spent the past 43 minutes explaining my reason. Like, would I have slowed down unless my joints were like, you sit down right now? And I'm like, ugh. Like she literally attacked both joints all the joints in my ankles and feet until I could not walk. Like how metaphysical can we be about like, and you shall not move right now? Like, oh, come on. But if I no,
you can't.
There's none of that. Anyway, so thanks for listening to that little story, but it's changed everything.
And thank you, Katie, for sharing. I know, when you have lived your life as an able-bodied person and then you have a different reality, it is really hard.
It's been, forcing me to unpack a lot of my, what we're talking about, a lot of my like internalized like productivity as worth. And if I'm not a provider and if I'm not a mover, what am I? So all these identities that have either been put upon me or that I've actively chosen are now kind of being stripped away. So I'm in this like deep metamorphosis right now. There's like a rapid transformation and growth, a little bit against my will, but I really do see the magic and the medicine in it too. Easier for me to see today on a low pain day, but I think I've been worried as a provider that if I share the details, then when my patients show up for their own time, that they will have a harder time claiming that space for themselves. Oh, I see almost exclusively prenatal and postpartum folks. And my deepest joy and honor and job is to get them to take up the space and ask for the rest and the care that they deserve. And so then I don't want them thinking about my health.
Yeah. Totally.
So I'm trying this new thing, you all, if you want to try it with me, where if I don't feel good, I don't go to work. What? I hate it, for the record, but it's important. And that means that if I'm there or if I'm here, that I really want to I want to have people let me be here. Does that make sense? Like
let
here,
me enjoy it.
like the greatest gift you could give me is to let me be your provider and to not be like, oh, I was going to ask you for this, but like, don't worry about it. If you're not feeling good, then I'm probably fine. I'll just cancel my next visit. I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, do you know how hard we've worked to get you to like learn what it means and what it feels like to really care for yourself? So I think, the more I speak about it, Emily, you're right. It's that my story right now is so wrapped up in this message we're talking about of like taking the time you deserve, finding the community you deserve, letting yourself rest. And yeah, to your point, Rebecca, part of the community I'm building, like every patient has been like, oh, I'm so proud of you for taking a step back. I'm so glad you're cutting down your schedule. Like nobody, not one person has been like, you know, and yet in my head, I was like, well, I can't cut back because it's impossible. Because why, what would everybody do? It's like, oh, everyone's going to figure it out actually.
Okay.
And if anything,
it's really hard. I had that experience when I left the NICU where I thought there's no way it's just everything's going to explode but everything is fine. And the courses that I taught the nurses and the residents are still being taught. Like nothing disappeared. It's okay. It's still going and if it doesn't keep going, then maybe in the future, someone else will build another thing that's even better than what I built, you know? So I hear that. But I interrupted you as you were just starting to talk about these two cool groups that you started.
No, I think I probably got off on a tangent. So thank you for anchoring me back in the initial question. So what it reminded me of what we were just saying is there's this song by Ale Blakely, if anybody knows her. She also leads a really cool song circles in Portland, if that's your vibe. But it's this song called Carry This All. And basically it's this over and over. It's like, you do not carry this on your own. You do not carry this on your own. You do not carry this on your own. And it can give us, I think, modern parenthood makes it feel like, well, if I don't do it, who will? Like nobody. If I don't do it, nobody will. And just from the day to day, that might sometimes be true depending on how your family is structured. But like in this world and in this planet and in our systems, like that's not true. It will get held. And if everybody's thinking that, then we're all here trying to show up in the best that we can. Yes. So what was her name? Let me just type it out because,
I'll post
Blakely, I think, or it's like Alexandra Blakely, and it's called Carry This All. I keep that song on repeat. Sometimes I put it on really loud and I just lay there and feel it, because all of this gets so heavy. And that song anchors me in the netting. That's an image I used a lot in my own labors, is like every birthing person who's ever done this before is like holding you now. Like you are not the first person to go through this. You won't be the last, in a good way, in a beautiful way. And so this song kind of reminds me of that. And so the more I can get out of my head and hear someone else tell me things, the better. So that song is really helping me these days. But now back to the original question is, I think in the name of gathering, in the name of in-person community and support, because who do we ask for help? Each other, I think. And not even help in solutions and in answers, but just in camaraderie, just in solidarity. So I've sort of built the two arms of circles in my own life, the birth workers arm and the parenthood arm. So there's a monthly free birth workers circle. So anybody whose professional life touches the perinatal area can just show up. And to me, it doesn't feel networky. I don't want people to feel like they have to be on or like talk about their business or whatever. It's truly just like, hey, where can we find the magic and the sacredness and the healing and the nourishment in this work that we do? Because it's such a profound period in those people's lives. And we are around like magic every day. And yet these systems kind of suck it out of you. And it's hard to see that when you're still trying to like do your job and pay your bills and meet metrics and whatever job you're in, requires of you. So that to me just feels so like juicy and important and good. So I want to do monthly circles for those folks. And I've been calling it Tired Hot Moms Retreat just because, I don't know, just feels right. It feels funny. It feels cheeky. It feels true. There's one coming up in October. And so it's a weekend in the Oregon coast. Some of you with littles might be a little too early if you're not ready to like leave your babies overnight. But then I'm also doing, half day Tired Hot Moms retreats locally. It's in Ridgefield. We're going to rent out this spa and I want to have postpartum doulas there to hold your babies. And then there's like steam room, sauna, cold plunge, hot tub, a little like birth story circle sharing. And I'm hoping to have it catered and then have a like photographer there to do some like postpartum, photos, like just like rolls and folds and boobs and bellies and soft hands and like just help us see ourselves in a new way that even if it's in a few years to look back and be like, I'm so glad I took these photos.
So glad that you like let your body be seen. Yeah. That's beautiful. If you need a caterer or a photographer, I have both of those.
Yeah. I have the private chef already for the October weekend. But yeah, dude, send me those. I'm always, yeah, sure.
Is this all on a website or all this information for both things? Or are they two like different names?
I was just about to ask,
Okay.
KatieKanda.com.
where can we find information about all of the amazing things that you are doing?
Well, as on any day that my body's well enough, I spend some time on my website. So it is technically there. Is it as robust as I would like it to be? No, but it is KatieKanda.com. And I think it's under events or retreats or something like that. You'll see it. You'll find it.
Great.
And I'm Dr. Katie Kanda on the things.
Instagram, Facebook.
Maybe I'm not on Facebook actually. I don't know.
Dr. Katie Kanda on Instagram, though.
For sure on Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions for me or things they want to say?
I've been trying to like formulate a question out of my thoughts. So maybe I'll just start talking and see where that leads me. But I just think a lot about how, so we went through several years of infertility and all of that comes with all of that. And I just, one piece, it just was so exhausting to advocate for myself and have to like explain to care, like providers that like something's wrong and like, can we move forward with this like testing and doing what we need to do and all of that. And it was just exhausting to have to advocate for myself in spaces where it felt like I shouldn't have to, like with a gynecologist and, you know, a fertility doctor, like just feeling like I shouldn't have to advocate for myself and then turning around and feeling like as women, we have to advocate for our rights in the country right now. And just feeling so exhausted by advocating for myself that I don't feel like I have capacity to like advocate for women. It just feels too big. So I don't know, I guess just wanting to like, I don't know, say that and see like what, I don't know, encouragement or thoughts maybe you had around that space, because it just feels like something that societally shouldn't be true and just is.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's such a shame, especially in something like infertility, when people work so hard to start their family and it's such a like heart-centered cause. And then to have providers just like close doors kind of for no reason is just like, kick me while I'm down. Why don't you? And Dawn, exactly. I was going to say the same point about like, you're spending so much time advocating for yourself that you don't feel like you can advocate for women, but same, right? Like you doing that work for yourself is doing that for women, and you're modeling that for every person in your community. So then they see what advocacy looks like. And one of like that will ripple. It is rippling, right? Like maybe we can't all show up at the protests or the like lobbying days or financially contribute to a campaign that's meaningful to us, but we are like radically loving these babies and slowly learning how to radically love ourselves. And I think that's just as powerful. It's slower, but I think it's sustainable, and I think that will ripple. And there are other people who want to go top down. And if we're going to go bottom up, like, thank God. And to me, that's kind of where this, like, we don't carry this all on our own mantra feels so important for me to remind myself, where it's not like because you're not fighting for capital W women at large everywhere that, like, that means no one's advocating for them. So I think you just doing that for yourself is so powerful and profound. And also, I don't know, I feel like I could just go off on so many tangents and mini TED Talks about, like, these providers aren't educated on, like, so many things.
Yeah.
They're experts in, like, the pharmaceutical and medical management of a given system.
Mm-hmm.
So specific and mechanical. And so then when intuition arises, they're like, well, there's no studies about that, so I don't know. You're like, well, but I know, right? Even Jenny, I hear that in you in the way you're advocating for your baby. Like, some people have to advocate really hard for, like, no, I'm really sure something's wrong. And you're like, no, I'm really sure maybe everything's right. Like, I'm actually sure everything's okay. And yet every provider, I don't think, is inherently individually bad, but is educated in this system that's like, we know the answers and that's the truth. And anyone else who has anything else to say it's okay, because we're at the top of this hierarchy, and that's how
the answers. We've got the answers for you.
No,
Your intuition. There's some studies. So Dawn has a question for you, Dr.
hit me,
Katie.
John.
If you went through
okay, go ahead.
pregnancy, I'm going to read it. If you went through pregnancy or postpartum again, what would you do differently, if anything?
Good question. I think so. My second pregnancy, I did structure a little bit differently than my first, at the end, and I'm proud of that. So at the end of pregnancy, I get very uncomfortable. I get very, very swollen, and my hands and feet get numb, and I lose function. So again, was that a whisper of what was to come, or is that just like how my body is pregnant? I don't know, but I cut back on work a lot sooner than I did the first time. So I feel really proud of myself for that. So I guess I'm just, like, patting myself on the back that I did invite some more rest at the end of my pregnancy. Postpartum, I would do differently. I think I would absolutely hire a postpartum doula. It feels like such a luxury to pay that much money to have somebody in your house doing things that's like, well, I could probably do that. And I did do that, and I shouldn't have, especially with other littles around. Anyway, so I would have paid for more postpartum support. I get a lot of FOMO too, kind of like what you were talking about, Melody, when it's like other people are doing fun things. Okay, bye, Rebecca. And so I wanted to go. It's like, sure, I'll just, like, go to the park and sit and watch, and I'll go over here and do. And I need to not go. I need to sit more. So that's what I would do more postpartum, sit and let people hold me.
Yeah.
But I think I need to pay them. I think I need to use my money to have them come over and hold me, because if not, I find excuses.
Mm-hmm. It's so hard. And it's hard because you feel like, I'm fine. But, like, why are we okay with just being fine postpartum? We should be goddesses postpartum.
And so many other cultures have that, right? Which is, I use that as an inspiration, as like, no, we're not, like, there are people that have figured this out, or frankly did thousands of years ago and just didn't forget it. They're still remembering what these people deserve in this time of life, and we have forgotten. But there are whole hosts of people who remember. And so if we can tap into that generational wisdom of these other cultures, and apply them in our own culturally appropriate ways, like, there is a way through this. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ugh, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's out there.
What a relief.
Oh, Katie, this has been such an awesome conversation. I wish that I could keep talking to you for another hour.
I could talk about this for just days at a time.
Dawn just shared a book called Do Nothing that might be worth a read.
Yes. I already like it.
So I'll post the song from Ollie Blakely. I'll post the books that we talked about. And I just want to tell you, Katie, you are incredible. What you are doing in the world is incredible. And I am really proud of you for taking a step back.
Thank you. We're all doing it. We're all doing it. So it's just an honor to do it together, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
If you want to find Dr. Katie and all the incredible things that she's building, from her birth worker circle to the Tired Hot Mamas retreats, head to katiekanda.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Dr. Katie Kanda. One of my biggest takeaways from talking with Dr. Katie today, we don't have to carry this alone. And the medicine is in the gathering. So gather. Ask for help. If you're local to Portland, come to our Friday support group at Alma Midwifery at 10 a.m. on Fridays. There are so many support groups around, and I can tell you one in your quadrant if you're here locally. And if you aren't, but you need help finding resources, we're here for you. And if you need permission to take care of yourself, here it is. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.